Hey everyone, this is Steven Stanzak from MarTech Wiz. If you're looking into landing page builders, you're in the right place. We did an extremely comprehensive look at over 20 different landing page builders. We ended up doing in-depth reviews of the top most relevant 16 of those, and here in this video today, we're really going to give a synopsis of the top 10. So we tested these tools on over 50 different factors, so there's really a lot that we aren't going to go in today, but if you so choose, there's tons of information on the website, including who they integrate with, a deep dive into the features, pricing, etc. So here's a link there if you want to go into the ranking specifically. On YouTube, you'll see that we do have about 15 to 20 minute videos that we go inside of each tool, so you can see directly the tool and kind of get a sense of the layout, the design, user interface, user experience. So with a ranking like this, of course there's not going to be any one tool that's best for everyone, so that's just a caveat. Really, any one of these top 10 tools is going to be the best for a specific person. Now, of course, the higher you go in the rankings, the more likely that it's going to be a better tool for you. But each of these tools have their strong suits, and on the flip side, each of these tools have at least one significant downside. Really, we think the top 4 are considered the top tier, and we'll get into those as we go forth in our rankings, and those really demarcate the elite from the others. So in terms of the rankings, we ranked on 4 different factors: design, usability, features, and price. We weighted each a weighting of 25%. And if you are ambitious and maybe feel like that wouldn't meet your needs, say you're less price sensitive and want to weight that less, then you can certainly go ahead and use the numbers that we have here and then do your own weightings and come up with your personalized rankings. So let's go ahead and get into the rankings themselves. So at number 10, we have Clickfunnels. Clickfunnels is a very unique tool. So honestly, it's not like most of the other landing page builders that you're going to see on this list. It's kind of a strange one to start off with, but basically Clickfunnels has a sales funnels focus. But what Clickfunnels does, they provide you cart functionality in there. We can do upgrades where you can do one-time offers, tripwire offers, so you can get some of the more specific cart functionality to really tweak your funnel. That said, since we looked at just landing page builders, let's go into that. And even if you look just at the landing page builder functionality, they're really stacked with features. So that's why you see where they get a 9 out of 10 for features. Another really strong suit is their integrations. They have some of the most integrations that we saw between landing page builders and other programs like CRMs, like email marketing, A/B testing. There's really a lot of different tools that you can kind of link into as a landing page tool. On the downside, with all the features, there's going to be a ton of settings, and a ton of settings and a ton of options is going to be really too heavy for some people and too complex. They could have done a better job in terms of the user interface to making it a little easier to navigate. Like, for example, sometimes I was looking for an options in the settings, which I knew was there, but it would take me a while to find it. And I think they're working on that, and actually I believe they're coming out with an updated user interface soon. But until we see that, right now it's going to be complex for some of the folks out there. Also, some of the templates are a little bit outdated in terms of style. So you're going to see a lot that are kind of like what I call internet salesy, long form sales pages, a lot of bolded, highlight, and arrows, just very loud pages. So if that's not something that you feel would suit your fancy, they do have some other pages that are a little bit more modern, but definitely overall not as modern and clean in design as some of the other tools out there. And then being kind of an all-in-one tool, they have tons of different features. So it's really like 10 software products in one. So you got to figure they're not going to be top-notch in all of those 10. So just because they do something, have a check mark in a feature list, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be top-notch. But the landing page builder tool is very good, and their sales funnels, of course, they're going to be experts in that. And they have a 14-day free trial, so you can go ahead and check them out if you so choose. In terms of the pricing, as I mentioned, they're expensive. They're actually almost twice as much as the second most expensive on the list. That said, there is value there. So I wouldn't say you're not getting value in that, because you're going to see with marketing automation and all the features that they have, that the features and value that you get for their price is aligned, if not even a good deal at the end of the day. Coming in 9 is Unbounce. Unbounce is one of the top names in landing page builders. It is another web-based SaaS tool, like most of the tools out there for landing page builders. And really where it shines is the stunning templates. They have a good they have our favorite type of editor, which is pixel precise drag and drop editor, and they have some unique features. They have SSL in terms of secure pages. They have dynamic text, which basically you can add in someone's name, or if someone comes to you from a PPC campaign like Google AdWords, you can actually include, I believe, the keyword that they came to you from. So there's some cool things you can do there. But ultimately, we were disappointed with the tool. We didn't feel like the tool really matched up to our expectations in that sense. One of the main reasons was the mobile responsiveness was a complete pain. So if you build a landing page in their regular desktop editor, and then you're going to want to see how it looks on mobile. So like with most tools, you go and you click the mobile option, and you can see how it would look in the mobile viewport. Now, when you go to the mobile viewport, if you made any changes in the desktop that are different than the template, what you're going to find is it gets all jumbled up when you go to the mobile view. So then you have to basically take the elements that are out of line, like maybe they're outside of the viewpoint of the mobile phone, so you wouldn't even see them if you didn't do anything. And then you have to bring them back in line so they're going to fit within the viewing window of a mobile phone. So that's bad enough, but worse, when you make changes on the mobile editor, then it affects the desktop editor. So if you make a change, then it's going to mess up things on the desktop editor. So it's almost like playing whack-a-mole when you're making changes between the mobile and the desktop view. And we really found it an unnecessary pain, one that we really only saw that in one other tool out of the 16. Most of the tools are much better at mobile responsiveness. In terms of the UI, the editor is a bit cramped. They have like blog posts on there. They have tons of sidebars and toolbars. And we just found like it was very cramped. And what that ultimately leads to is you have a smaller window to make changes in the WYSIWYG editor that is really where you're going to spend most of your times in terms of moving around the different elements, making different changes to the colors, to the background images, etc. Lastly, it was odd. Some basic things require code. So what that means is things like changing the favicon, which is the icon that you see on tabs. That you can't do out of the box. If you go to the official support forum, which actually they have a great community and it seems like very active support. So while that's a positive, they basically, their response is, here's some code that you can input into your page or your site. And I just feel like with landing page builders, most people are not going to be super technically savvy. So just having them copy and paste some code is really, in my view, a recipe for disaster, because any small thing can go wrong when you're dealing with code. You miss a bracket, you put in the wrong ID, what have you, and that could really break a page. But more so just be very frustrating for something like a favicon, which is you can just, in many other tools, just basically upload a image and it's now your favicon and it's the icon on your tab. So that's something we would expect from a top player like Unbounce, but some of those basic things they did not have. In terms of price, they're definitely on the higher end of the spectrum, $539 per year. And first, a little caveat or a little explanation on how we measured price. We took the lowest paid subscription and what it would cost for a year. So that basically levels it out, because some people have steep discounts over a year, some people don't, but they have a lower monthly cost. So we looked at a year's worth of the lowest level plan that they have, usually called an intro plan or a starter plan. And a caveat to that is, though, every intro plan is going to be a little bit different. So this gives you a directional view in terms of the pricing scale that we have on the bottom. But really, I would look at the tools you're most interested in, and then to really get the details of the plan, you're going to have to go into them, because every plan will decipher what's a pro plan from a starter plan to a premium plan based on different. Maybe they limit visitors, limit domains, limit pages. Maybe they limit features. Maybe they limit support. So there's really a lot of different combinations of features, and then how that is going to be reflected in the price. So overall, Unbounce came in with a 7.5. Definitely a solid tool. Just kind of disappointed in terms of what we expected out of a top name. Coming number 8 is BitBlox, and BitBlox is one of the newer entrants into the landing page builder market. BitBlox is the first on this list, which you see is a page block editor. And basically, a page block editor, instead of having a landing page, which typically you add element by element, so you'd add a form, you would add a headline, you can add an image. With a page block editor, it basically gives you different modular sections of a website, and you can add full sections into the landing page builder. So, for example, if you want a testimonial section on your landing page, you can just put a testimonial section, but it's very customizable because they'll have like 10 or so different testimonial sections. And then say you want to add like a feature section with 3 pictures, then you can pick out of like 10 different page blocks for features, or if you want a pricing tables. So it's really nice because you're going to be able to mix and match all these different page blocks. It's super easy. They look great because they're very well designed, and better than that, they all fit together in terms of design. So a lot of landing page builders will say they're easy, say they're quick. BitBlox and all the page block editors are really easy, really simple, and on top of that, they look great, and they add some customization because you can pick which page blocks you want versus a template, which a lot of tools have, where you're kind of stuck with what the modules that they put in. So the good aspects, as we mentioned, design, the pages look great. It's just very easy to use, so the usability is going to score high. Most page block editors are not going to have the amount of features that other more established tools will. So we expect their feature list to increase over time, but for now, they definitely lack some other features that others have. No deal breakers, but you're not going to find everything that you want, and you can go into our in-depth reviews to know exactly what they're missing. We did see some minor bugs too. Give them a little bit of leeway because it's new, but we would like to see them cleaned up over the next year. So BitBlox is priced at $347 for the lowest paid plan, which is basically smack in the middle, so averagely priced. And just a quick note before we go on, this is just really a synopsis and a quick overview of all these different tools. If you want to see a full in-depth reviews and videos, you can go to our site, MarTech Wiz. They're also on YouTube, the videos are at least. But if you go onto our site, you can also grab the free PDF buying guide. So the post for this analysis is like 15,000 words. It's huge, but you can go ahead and get this PDF view, this PDF buying guide, and that's going to give you a good summary and a good way to kind of see what could be the best tools for you. Coming in at number 7 is Wishpond, and Wishpond is kind of another one of those all-in-one tools. Not really all-in-one, but it has multi-different tools outside of landing page builders, specifically marketing automation and contest management. So that said, again, we just looked at the landing page building functionality, and that's what we use for the review and the rankings. Their templates look great. They're designed fabulously, just great pictures, great fonts, great colors. And they don't only have templates for landing page builders, but they have templates for forms, and so you can use it for pop-ups or timed exits, or just forms that you want to put on your landing pages. And they look great, and they match the pages. And interestingly enough, you don't see a lot of landing page builders with forms that are designed, or that they have templates that are well designed. They have a strong feature set, so just in terms of the number of features that they have, they rank very highly on that. And we also really love the user interface. Very clean, very easy to get around, very clear in terms of anything you need to do. It's clear in terms of how to navigate to get whatever you need done. In terms of the bad, their editor is mediocre at best. You can definitely work with it, but it's not going to be a top-notch editor. So we won't go into the different types of editors, but this is called a column-based drag and drop. This is actually the most common editor, but in our aspect, we don't love it. We feel like the page block editor and the pixel precise drag and drop are better editors. So this is a column based, which we don't love. So basically at the end of the day, it's just a bit clunky. It's not like, PowerPoint where you can just move a image to the right up in 2 inches or move something wherever you want. It's got to fit almost in like a grid that's constricting when you're trying to build the page and build it how you want it and how you see it in your head. In terms of the pricing, for what you get, it's valuable pricing, but the downside is that you can't unbundle the landing page builder tool from it, like with any all-in-one tool. So if you already have a marketing automation tool that you love and you want to stick with, there's really no point in going with Wishpond because it's just going to be, you're going to be paying additionally for that, which you don't need. Now, if you're starting out or if you want to change marketing automation tools, this is a great option for that because you're going to get a good landing page tool. And we didn't really go too in depth into marketing automation, but from what we tested, it looks good. And at $540 a year, that's a good price for all that different functionality and features. So something to keep in mind. At the end, Wishpond scored an 8, so a solid score, and that is basically on the backs of good design and a strong feature set. Coming in at 6 is Instabuilder 2.0. We'll just call it Instabuilder from now on. This is the first landing page tool that on our list that on this top 10 list that's a WordPress plugin. So this is not a SaaS tool that's web-based. This is going to sit within WordPress. Although at the end of the day, it functions very much like a SaaS tool because you can open it up in a new screen. So let's just talk about WordPress plugins. They have a lot of advantages and probably some minor disadvantages, but I think the advantages, at least for me, outweigh the disadvantages. So if you get a WordPress plugin tool, and of course you use WordPress, it's very nice to just have your landing pages with all the rest of your pages. Also, you don't have to go to a third-party tool or to another website and log in and, dig around and whatnot to find your pages. They're going to be in your WordPress dashboard, which you're probably in, if not every day, every week. So everything's going to be in there. But not only that, you can also use a lot of the plugins that you used to. So example, Yoast SEO plugin, say you use that. You can use that then with your landing page builders, which are housed within your WordPress dashboard. So there's a lot of advantages to that. Some of the minor downsides, if it's a SaaS tool, they'll host your pages, so it's a little less burden on your servers, and it might be a little quicker. There's some other minor ones, but like I said, I think the main point is WordPress plugins is very good from a usability standpoint because you're going to be able to access everything from within the WordPress plugin or the WordPress dashboard. And like I said, you can use just everything you're familiar with, including plugins, but just including all that you use in WordPress. So in addition to that, WordPress plugins are typically drastically less expensive because you buy them once and then you have them. So we say $97 a year here, and typically, I guess that's what we would recommend. So $97 a year is for support and updates, but really, if you buy it once and you never want to upgrade again, after a year, you're going to have that tool, and you're going to own the tool, and you're going to own the pages, unlike a SaaS tool where you could be paying these folks for the rest of the lifetime of your business. So this is something that you should definitely keep in mind. SaaS versus WordPress plugin. So let's go. So into the good, they have a great feature set. So really, this is one where if you look at the website and you kind of, it doesn't look super modern, kind of looks a little outdated. But when I started to use the tool, I was really impressed by the feature set. Can it do this? Yes. Can it do that? Yes. So it really just checked a lot of the boxes. And also it has a nice user interface as well. Just a lot of different real estate to work with. So we felt like it was very comfortable from that point of view. Inexpensive, so great value. Even if you renew every year, which is perfectly reasonable. $97 a year. I mean, I think that's going to come to like less than $10 a month. So compare that to a lot of these tools, which on average are $28 to $29 per month. We're talking 1/3 of the price, 66% off. The bad is that it is a column-based drag and drop editor, just like we mentioned with Wishpond and many others. That said, it's a good column-based drag and drop editor, not one of the most frustrating ones, and we think better than Wishpond in that aspect. In terms of templates, they're not going to wow you. The design is mediocre. They have some decent ones, but you're going to see a lot of like the outdated, old-fashioned, like internet salesy, I call them, with a lot of underline and kind of this similar to what you'll find with Clickfunnels. Now, that said, these might actually convert better than beautiful, clean, visually appealing landing pages. It's something that you might want to test. If you don't want that look and feel for your brand, totally understand. I wouldn't want it for mine, but at the end of the day, you might want to look into maybe something that's not the most beautiful page in your aspect, but it might actually convert better. So that's what A/B testing is for, and most of these tools do have A/B testing, so why not test it? So at the end of the review, the ranking came out to an 8.2, and great price, great features, and actually the usability was surprisingly good for this WordPress plugin. Kickoff Labs comes in at number 5, and Kickoff Labs is they're kind of in transition. So they have an older landing page builder, which is a static builder, which we don't like static builders whatsoever. But their new builder, their new editor, is kind of a mix between a column-based drag and drop, but even better, a page block system. And you'll see just from every aspect of the user interface, getting started, the templates, design is a key criteria with Kickoff Labs, and you see that in their design templates. Very beautifully done, very beautiful user interface, clean, modern, and add on to that the page block, ease of use. It's just really a great experience using it. But that said, that's only their new editor. Still, 90% of the pages are going to be on the old static editor. So it's going to be a while before they transfer over. So they only have, I think, like 7 or 8, I want to say, templates for the new editor. It's in beta, but we felt like it was pretty far along. So we saw a couple bugs, but in terms of things that are in beta, this was something that was pretty far along. So we liked the editor a lot. We liked the design a lot. Had a good amount of features, not the most you'll see, and price is a little slightly cheaper than the average of builders, but we believe it lost some points in some of the features that it doesn't have for that lower priced option. So it comes out at the end with a score of 8.25 out of 10. Now we're going to move from 5 into number 4 and down to 1. This is really the start of the top tier, and this really is a demarcation, like I said earlier, between the elite tools and all the other tools. And a note about the top 4 is really any of those could be number 1. Actually, 1 through 3 all scored identically the same score, 8.75 out of 10. But due to our tie-breaking methodology, we stack ranked them 1 to 3, which we won't go into now. And then 4, which is Instapage, which we'll go into now. Actually, if you look at just the product aspects, design, usability, and features, averages out to a 9 out of 10. That's the best out of any tool when you look at the 3 main product categories. And the price brings them down a little bit, but really the price, as you can see below, is a very good price in terms of its average price for the industry. But they're not going to gain any points. Some of the ones that are more highly ranked have some really, really attractive prices in addition to really good tools. So that said, this is a great tool for enterprise, great tool for agencies, maybe the best user experience. This is a top name tool that actually lives up to the expectations. In terms of the templates and the designs of the pages, very elegant. They just look great. Using the tool, as I mentioned, the user experience is great because the interface and the editor, you can tell they focus specifically on landing pages and they do it well. And in terms of features, they have an extensive feature list. So you're really going to see almost every feature that you're going to see in other landing page builders. One of the exceptions to that is there's no pop-ups as of now integrated into the system. I think you can do it with code, but I don't consider that having the feature. So you're not going to be able to do timed features or exit pop-ups, which is a pain. I think Unbounce used to not be able to, and they recently came out with one. So we would like to see pop-ups in the future, but for now they don't have that. So that's probably the only thing holding them back from getting a 10 out of 10 for features. And then 8, this isn't really bad necessarily, but A/B testing, you have to go up to the pro membership. So I think that's fair for the tool. But if you pay $348 a year, just know since that's the lowest paid tier, you're not going to see A/B testing in that configuration. So as we mentioned, great design usability features. It's a pixel precise drag and drop editor. Moving on to number 3 is Thrive Themes. Another thing I'd like to say before we move forward about the top 4 is while they all score very evenly in terms of the score, they're all very different. So definitely don't go to like number 1 and say I got to go with that one, or you should look at least the top 4 very, very closely because, for example, Instapage was a SaaS web-based tool, much different than number 3, which is a WordPress plugin, Thrive Themes from the Thrive Themes group. And what we did, we tested, they have a couple different plugins. We tested 2 together, their landing page builder and their leads plugin, because we feel like they're very complementary. So you can buy those separately. I believe they're around $67 or $77 to buy them outright. And then I believe also that you have lifetime updates. So you can do that. But also another very attractive option is their membership, which is $228 per year. So much less than the average SaaS-based tool. And what you're going to get is you're going to get updates. Thrive Themes, I have a lot of confidence in their products, very solid products, and they come out with updates constantly. So it just seems like a really solid company, really solid products across the board. And that membership not only includes the 2 plugins that I mentioned, but 4 others, which are not as important. This is the most feature-packed landing page builder that's out there when you add it in with the leads plugin. So you're going to just get tons of features, hardly anything you can't do here with one exception. As we mentioned, a solid, well-built tool. And another good thing is, as we mentioned, you have the option to do a one-time payment, which you'll own the plugin, which will own the pages forever. I believe you get you get lifetime updates as well. So that's just an amazing deal, and that's really why it comes out to a 10 in price. Even though the membership, ongoing, recurring fees are also good if you want to go that option too. That's definitely an attractive price as well. Now the one main downside of Thrive's solutions is that they don't have A/B testing for landing pages, which is very odd because almost every other tool has in some way, shape, or form A/B testing. But that's not something they have at Thrive Themes. So of course you can do some A/B testing with third-party tools, but you really want to see A/B testing within your landing page builder tool, and that's not something that's available as of now. Now they do have A/B testing on their lead boxes And actually, it's an amazing A/B testing capabilities, by far the most sophisticated out there. But that leads to our next point, where there's so many options, there's so much sophistication, so many things you can do with some of the Thrive plugins, that for some, if you don't like getting your hands dirty in settings and different technical things, you might find that it's a little too complex for you. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Also want to mention, overall, most of the WordPress plugins don't have a free trial, but they typically have a 30-day money-back guarantee. And a lot of them, I use that 30-day money-back guarantee because, of course, I'm not going to buy all of the tools on this list. I asked to try them, so I wouldn't have to, have them process a refund because it's fees for them. But anyway, for most of them, they just said just do the 30-day money-back guarantee, and I did that and got, of course, no problem getting the money back in my account. So if you want to try it but you don't want to fully commit, you also have that option as well. So Thrive Themes came out with a score of 8.75 in the end. Number 2 is ONTRApages, a completely different tool than the above two that we talked about, but a very similar score. How is it different? Mainly because it's a page block editor. So if you remember, we said that's the editor that BitBlox is, and Kickoff Labs also has a little bit of page block functionality as well. So we love page block editors, and they just did an amazing job. ONTRApages might sound familiar because it's actually part of the ONTRAport. Not part of, but it's owned by, or it's developed by the folks who develop ONTRAport as well. So that's something that maybe this is such a good price and such a good value because it's almost like a loss leader. That's my theory for ONTRAport. But that said, you can buy it standalone. It's only $99 a year for a SaaS tool, which is like outstanding. And it's, even outside of the price, just an amazing tool. The pages look great. You can use a page block editor. The design and the fonts and the pictures just all come together to create great pages, super easy, a lot of flexibility in terms of what page blocks you want, what you don't. It's like any page block system, intuitive, very easy to use, and just an outstanding value for that $99 a year. And they actually even have a free plan too, which I would recommend. You pay what it comes out to, like $8 a month for if you buy the annual, and then you can also buy it by the month, which I believe is like $12 or $15. I don't know it off the top of my head, but anyway, it's an outstanding value. So I would actually recommend not going with a free plan. There's so much more you can do with even though it's a good free plan, there's it's so little to get up to the premium level because they only have one paid plan. If you can, allocate that budget, I would definitely do that. The only downside is that they have less features than others. No deal breakers that would completely preclude you from having good landing page builders. And if you want to know what features they don't have, I would recommend you go to the full review that I have on the website. But overall, just great design, great pages, great user interface, and an outstanding price of $99 per year. And ONTRApages is a great option. So, coming in at number 1 is Landingi. Overall, the best solution that we found. Landingi is a great tool in many different aspects. There's really hardly a fault that you can find within the tool. Some details: it's a web-based SaaS tool. You can get a free trial. It's a pixel-precise drag-and-drop editor, which is our favorite type of editor. That and PageBlock we like as well. But the pixel-precise drag-and-drop editors are fabulous. The user interface is very clean, so that makes the user experience just great in terms of going from the dashboard to the editor, using different functions and features. It's very easy to get around. It's just a joy to use. And they also have a very, very strong set of features. So you're going to see features that go toe-to-toe with any other tool out there. So even though this isn't one of the most well-known brands, it's actually one of the most featured-packed tools and one of the easiest to use. Another thing we really love about Landingi is their pricing structure. So basically all plans have all features. So I believe the limiting factor in terms of what price you're going to pay is based on leads. So that's very flexible from a user just starting out. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a smaller to mid-sized business and you want to try it out, but you want all those features like A/B testing and all those really premium features that some of the tools on this list, you have to go up to the premium versions of it. With Landingi, everything is including in every plan, so just very simple pricing, and it's just very good for if you are entering the landing page builder market and want to get your toes wet. This is something that is a great tool to do that and have access to all the features so you don't feel constrained. And you just basically move up into different pricing tiers based if those pages are successful and they're getting you leads. There is one significant downside, at least for me. I looked at it this way as a WordPress guy. There's no WordPress plugin. So of course you can use it with WordPress sites, but you have to connect it through like a custom domain. So you have to, I think, go and probably tweak some settings between like your hosting provider, and you only have to do it once, not a huge deal, but it just would be so much easier if you could implement and activate a WordPress plugin and then kind of just do that within WordPress, and then just add like an API key and not have to deal with the back end stuff. The price is also very attractive with Landingi as well. As you see here, it's 25% below the industry average. So I don't think it's the cheapest SaaS tool, but I think it's the second cheapest SaaS tool, and either the way you look at it, the top one or top two SaaS tools out there in terms of the product. So $259 per year based on their starting package, which I believe it's 1,000 or 3,000 leads. I don't have that. I believe it's 1,000 leads that's based on them. So it's just a fantastic price. Fantastic tool. Definitely would recommend Landingi, but really as well as the other top tier tools. So again, the main ones I would recommend are Landingi, and this is going to be a pixel precise drag and drop editor, great for small to medium sized businesses. ONTRApages is a very good value and a page block editor tool, which is a great way of building landing page tools. Again, Thrive Themes, we would also recommend. It's a WordPress plugin, and it's really featured packed and good pricing as well. And then lastly, Instapage, a fantastic tool, great for enterprise, great for agencies. You're gonna see solid support and solid improvements for the tool going on to the future. So you can feel very confident in this if you're more of like an enterprise customer. So that is the rankings, and just want to, before we go, let you know that you can get all the rankings in terms of if you want to read posts of each review, and if you want to see the screencast. We did screencasts for all of the above tools and the other 6 that we didn't mention here. So if you're saying, oh, I didn't see this tool or I didn't see that tool on the list, well, if that's the case, it might be between 10 and 16 where it didn't make the top 10. But if you want to look into that, you can do so back on our website, MarTech Wiz. You can also get a free PDF buying guide. So a great chance to get something to take with you, because the posts are very long. The post is very long. Like I said, it's about 15,000 words, and the videos of each tool is about 15 to 20 minutes, so it's just a bear to get through. So this is so between this video hopefully, and this is pretty long, at 40 or so minutes, but you can get the landing page builder tool, kind of have that, throw it in the cloud or on your desktop, and then you can have that to reference anytime you need to do that. So we're going to sign off from now. Thanks so much for hearing us through to the end about the different landing page builders tools. And if you have any more questions, feel free to go over to MarTech Wiz. And hopefully if you found value in this, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.